Wait a second. This is season 2. Run that new track. Switch!
What up, what up? Good morning, people.
This is the Vaggio Broadcast Show.
Timpin, Salone. You heard it here, folks. Coming back to you live. Actually, let's restart it. We're getting a lot. Ready? No, hold on. All right, I got
So
it.
so you got to stop the recording now and do it again?
No, it'll still be recorded. We can just cut out parts when we edit, I guess.
We're going to leave this in too.
No, what I'll do this.
That's how the first one started too. So it's only right.
Here we go. Do I need to give you a speech again, bro? Are you good, bro?
Nah, I'm good.
All right.
Let's go.
All right, we in grid view or we in speaker view?
We're in gallery view.
All right, let me start. What up, what up? Good morning, people.
This is the Vaggio Broadcast Show.
Timpin, Salone. You heard it here, folks. Coming back to you live and direct from 3 undisclosed locations, nowhere near you. We're back and better than ever for season 2 of Timpin, Salone. Yes, you heard that right. Season 2. Of course, I'm your host, Wilver Garcia Juarez. And joining me today, we got my man, Drubisky Aaron Williams. Say hi to the people.
What's up, everybody?
And also joining me, we have the man who signs my imaginary checks, Q Echelon Carter.
What up, what up?
Now, the last time that we were talking, we left off on the question, does everybody snitch? Is history just another form of snitching? And how does that affect Tekashi 6ix9ine? So I think it's only appropriate that we pick off where we left off. And it just so happens to be relevant because of the recent news regarding Tekashi 6ix9ine. So let's start off with, does everybody snitch? What do y'all think?
I think so. Like at some point in time, everybody's done little thing. It could be as simple as, you have a sibling, they just think, and they're trying to blame it on you. Say, oh no, he did it, or like they broke something that you had, or something happened. It's like something simple as that. It starts off like as a child, and then it kind of grows, and then you see everything. So like at some point in time, everybody's definitely snitched or told on something.
When's the last time you snitched, dude?
I can't think of a specific example. I can only really think about childhood time.
When it comes to snitching, I think we got to break down. I think there's different forms of snitching. So I think that if you're doing a crime, like let's say it's 2 people committing a crime and one person get caught, and then the person that got caught snitches on the other person to bring him down, I think that's snitching. But I think in certain times, there's certain cases, if you get done wrong, even though it's a square thing to do, I think if somebody come in your house and, you know, take your possessions, it's not really snitching if you identify the person. Because you didn't sign up for that action. But if you signed up for the action, you know what's going on, and you know, got to take the rap for it, I think that's snitching. What you think, Will?
I think that you make a good point. Snitching is basically a form of taking admittance of your actions. So it's like you're admitting to what you've done, and you may know that it was wrong. So you're admitting to it. And if you do happen to bring somebody down with you that isn't guilty of whatever they were doing, like if they weren't implicated at all, they weren't doing anything wrong, but you just happen to mention their name, and they, as a result, do happen to get in trouble for your actions, and yeah, that I do believe that is a form of snitching, and that is wrong. But I mean,
when's the last time you snitched?
Last time I snitched, let's see. Okay, it was in the dishes, man. Somebody was supposed to do the dishes. It wasn't me. Somebody told me to do it, so it wasn't my job. I wasn't the first person they told to do it. I was the second person, so. But they were I was like, nope, not me.
You gotta leave the chat.
They were the ones that they were told to do the dishes, not me. I was told second after they didn't do it. I didn't do it. It wasn't my job in the first place. Whatever, you know. I'm not taking the fault for that. But yeah, and snitching. The thing with snitching is it's kind of been socially frowned upon, but the people just aren't getting the context right. So, for example, 6ix9ine has been in the news recently, and he's been labeled as a snitch for ever since the case started. But if you look at the Breakfast Club interview that he did before he was involved in the case with the FBI, before they brought him in and started charging him and stuff, he said that he wasn't involved in the gang stuff. He was just using the gang as a form of getting clout and getting his fame up, just getting more attention on him. So, I mean, the fact that he said that, he wasn't snitching on anybody. He was saying it how it was. He was saying the truth, that he wasn't about the lifestyle, that he was just using them as a benefit for him. And
I guess he was still like putting like hits out on people. He was still kind of like acting as part of it, but he still like wasn't like fully in it. It's like he was portraying the lifestyle and like showing it and using it for his like image, but like he wasn't, like you said, he wasn't really like actively like wanting to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm. And as a result, everybody was trying to bring him down because although he did put more light on a problem that was already existing, they were trying to bring him down when really he wasn't doing anything wrong. I mean, sure, you could be a faker. I mean, everybody's a faker at some point or another in their lives. You know, they wear fake clothes and fake designer stuff just to make the appearance that they look wealthier, that they want to be more, I don't know, what is it? Hip. Like they want to blend in with the newer culture or whatever. When really maybe that's just not how they are, or the taste in music that they have. I mean, they'll listen more to rap because the environment around them is rap, and if they don't listen to that, then they're excluded from society or whatever. So people sure can act fake, but he admitted to it, and there's no wrongdoing in that. Like he knows that he's not a part of it, and they still wanted to bring him down. So as a result, the only way that he could get out of that was by telling the truth and saying it how it was. And as a result of that, he was labeled a snitch.
I feel like part of the reason why he snitched, he said, was because they'd done something to him. Like they said they kidnapped him. They tried to kidnap his mother. He's been beaten up. I feel like I don't know if it's true or not, but he said like if that stuff never happened, it might have like played different. He might have not maybe told or even told as much, but because they did all that stuff, I think he was saying how he doesn't want to just ruin his image and like still have a life after. Because if he just stood like silent, never told, his life would basically be over. So if he was presented the option of gaining another life and just kind of like getting a second chance, I feel like he jumped on that. I feel like the stuff that the rest of the people that he snitched on did to him definitely played a part.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
want to tread lightly in my comments, but it's just like, just not even speaking on him personally, just like that culture in general. You got to understand that, like, that gang culture is like an actual culture. It ain't something you could just turn on or turn off. You know what I mean? It's a lot you sign up for when you a part of that lifestyle. And it's just like, if you go into that situation trying to expose it to like for clout, you got to understand how many people you disrespecting. Like, it's people doing time off, that flag, bro. You can't just, turn it off or turn it off. And like, just not speaking about his situation, it's just, I think a lot of times in music or just culture, people just they kind of see that lifestyle as trendy. It's a certain type of lifestyle you really got to go through. You know what I mean? It ain't for everybody. And again, I'm not speaking about anybody's particular set or situation, but I just think that you can't just be sitting up there trying to exploit somebody's culture for fame, bro. Because if you do, somebody will take offended by that, and you can't really control how somebody reacts. Just like if you had artists come through the game and exploit Black culture and stuff like that, you can't really control the reaction when somebody feel offended by it. If somebody check you on it, it's just like, if that's the lifestyle you signed up for, you got to deal with that for the good and the bad. You can't just wave your flag when it's convenient. You know what I mean? So my question to y'all is, do y'all think that people who are not from that lifestyle, or why do you think people who are not from that lifestyle gravitate to that lifestyle as far as waving the flag and stuff like that?
I think part of the reason why people gravitate towards it is because it's glorified. And frankly, I think it's overrated. I mean, if you look at it specifically in rap culture, it's big. But outside of that, it doesn't have the same presence as it used to. I mean, if you think about LA specifically prior to 2000s, I mean, gangs were taking over, and it was a big problem specifically due to drugs more than anything. But there were also boundaries, and there was a lot more violence back then. And I feel like that slowly decreased. But the thing is, people are starting to worry more about other stuff and less about gangs.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like they kind of use it for like the image, like especially like I think with 6ix9ine, his fan base is mainly like that young preteen. So they're trying to look for something to rebel against, something that if their parents heard them listen to, they would like say, "Oh no, you should listen to that." So I feel like a lot of rappers like who aren't really like a part of like that street life use it for like branding and imaging. So I feel like it's definitely died down presence over the years. You had like back like 90s and 80s, people were like really living what they were like saying in their music. So I feel like it's definitely changed throughout the years. A lot of people like now today are mainly just using it for like their image and branding.
Yeah. Do y'all think y'all ever felt pressure to join a gang or ever wanted to join a gang?
Never, yeah, definitely not.
Nope.
Never, I just always seen the bad stuff, just seeing how everything goes down. So I never like, even like with the classic school assembly where they had people come over telling you like when you're like maybe like 12, 13 years old about like the warnings about stuff like that. So I've always been turned off by that. I've never like wanted to do any of that stuff. So it's always like been a no for me.
Now let me ask you something. So gang lifestyle, the whole notion of being in a gang, that is promoted in colleges specifically with the use of frats. How do you guys feel about that? Do you guys think that being in a frat is overrated? Do you feel like that it's something that we should still carry as a tradition, or what?
Is it overrated? Is being in a fraternity. I mean, I think it depends on what you're going in it for. I mean, if you're going in to like network and like have a brotherhood or something like that, it's I can stand behind that. But if you're trying to like, I got homies that's, alphas, AKs and all that. But it's just like, I think there's certain time where it's a little too much as far as like the hazing, you feel me? And it's just like, for me, that was never my situation because I could just network without being a part of an organization and stuff like that. But if you're on there trying to network and trying to elevate yourself, I think it's probably underrated for that aspect. What you think?
Yeah, I think that there's like good ways to join a fraternity fraternity and then bad ways. I feel like you can network and have that strong bond that like lasts like generations and generations. So it depends like what type of fraternity or sorority it is, like the reasons why. I feel like just the regular stuff like, oh, I just want to do just a party and like get exclusive stuff, that's like a bad reason. But I feel like there's still like good parts of fraternities and sororities, but there's also like bad parts, and why people join it for like different reasons should be questioned.
No, true. And so let me ask you something. So you brought up hazing really quick. So I know that when you're getting hazed, you're not supposed to tell anybody about the process, and if anybody has questions, you're not allowed to snitch. In that case, if you decided to join a fraternity for the purpose of networking only, you would still have to go through that hazing. Would you snitch? Yes or no?
If somebody was doing some OC stuff to me,
I mean, I'm pretty sure all hazing is like just ridiculous. Yeah, would you snitch?
Just me,
even though you have the right intentions. Even though,
just me, I'm just like, even my mama, I don't snitch. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something that I do. You know what I mean? And if I was ever in that situation where I was being hazed OD, I'd probably have a convo with the person and just walk away from it. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna bring the whole organization down, because some people don't look at it as hazing. They look at it as just, that's just what it is. Like, if you go to the military or to like the Air Force, you know what you're signing up for in that training camp. You know what I mean? And so I could just sit up there and say, it ain't for me, and walk away from it and keep it like that. What you think, Drew?
I feel like it depends. There's like a thing where like lives are at stake, and like there's cases like where people have died for like over hazing. So I feel like if it gets to that point where like if you don't say something, this could be like more people getting like hurt, and like nobody's really knowing. I feel like in that case you would have to speak up and say something. But like it was like little stuff. Maybe it's like you didn't want to work as hard. Maybe it's just like some simple things. I feel like you should be good. But like if it was something like overboard, like over the extreme, I feel like someone would have to say something.
Yeah, I definitely would. I definitely would say something. Nah, I don't feel like it's worth it to get pushed around and assaulted just for some networking that I can do on my own. Really, I don't need a fraternity to do it.
So you gonna bring the whole organization down?
If I have to.
If it's that bad,
if I have to. But the thing is, I'm not signing up. I never signed up for it. I never
signed organization. If you see this man trying to play us, bro, he ain't the one. He ain't the one for you.
That's all right. I mean, I'm not looking to. I never had the intention of ever joining one, because I knew what exactly would happen if I signed up for it. But I feel like the ends didn't justify the means in that case. Like I said, I could network on my own. I don't need to get my butt kicked for that. That's just me, my opinion. So as everybody knows, quarantine has been sweeping the nation. It's been pretty rough on everybody. And during these times, we've seen a rise in a couple of things. The first thing is TikTok. TikTok has been sweeping all social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere. You can see it everywhere. A bunch of new dances. Celebrities are even hopping on TikTok. And it's just another form of people to get a little clout and whatever. I know some people are getting some sponsorships already, which is crazy. But and even Beyonce name dropped it in a song with Meg Thee Stallion. And she also name dropped another form of another platform for content.
Bro, what's the question, bro?
It's she said she name dropped OnlyFans. So for those that don't know, OnlyFans is a platform for creators to post their content, and they would basically receive another form of income. It's through a subscription basis. So you would pay a monthly fee to see content from different creators. So this isn't the first time we've seen a platform like this. The first platform or something similar to it was Patreon. Patreon had its shine, and there was a lot of people that would utilize their stuff, like specifically for Twitch.
Hey.
A lot of people, they would post their live streams on Patreon and be like, hey, if you want to watch my exclusive videos or watch them prior to their drop on YouTube, you could sign up for this subscription and you could get whatever benefits from that.
Bro, what's the question, bro?
Yeah. Just give me a second. I gotta explain to the people, bro. So OnlyFans is essentially the same thing as Patreon, except that their terms of what you can and cannot post is a little more lax. So the rise of OnlyFans has transitioned from a more of a family friendly to a not so family friendly platform, and a lot of people are utilizing it to get their money in a time where people can't go to work because they're not getting a paycheck since the virus. So with that said,
3 hours later.
with that said, would you let a girl who has OnlyFans date you?
Negative.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't
Clippers.
be able to do that.
Clippers. Nah, let me take that back.
What if it was a girl of your dreams? What if she came up to you and she said, you know what, I want to date you. And the thing is, you knew about it. This was your chance. You've always wanted to go on a date with her, right? And you know what kind of person she is. The only thing is she has an OnlyFans. That's the only thing.
Well,
how would you feel about that?
It depends on the type of content. As you said, it's a platform where people post content. It depends on the type of content that she's posting.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If she's posting the typical content, might be a little clip, man. You know what I mean? And again, that ain't a shot against nobody, but it's just me. That's not. A lot of times now, as I'm getting older, I'm thinking about just the representation of my significant other has on a daughter. You know what I mean? And so I kind of want my significant other to lead by example, for my future kids one day. So, might be a little clip on that front. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
Drew, how do you feel about that?
Definitely clip for me, man.
Yeah.
I feel like if in a relationship you want, I guess for me personally, I want someone that's like chill, that doesn't have to like, I guess, do stuff like that in a way. So I would kind of be like, be turned off to like stuff like that. And also like what Q was saying, like it depends like what type of content it is. Like if it's the regular, like what people are going to OnlyFans for, then that's enough. That's
what people go to OnlyFans for, Drew?
Yeah, Drew.
They're trying to see some. They're trying to see some stuff. They're trying to get a membership or something, man. They're trying to pay for some very exclusive content. But yeah. That's enough for me.
Are you a paid member, bro?
Definitely not.
Never
use the platform.
Bro. Let me see your bank statements, bro. Let me see your bank statements, bro.
Okay, well, how do you feel about the mothers that have 4 kids that they have to take care of? They also have to pay rent, and let's just say that the father was out of the picture. This is just another form of income for them, essentially. It's easy money. They don't have to leave their house. They're not doing any favors physically, because the second oldest profession in U.S. history is working the corners. I don't want to say the word, but that's what it is. So like essentially you're selling yourself. In this case, I guess you could kind of say you are, but you're not really doing the favor. So I guess it's a little more dignifying than it is going out and doing the favor in person. So you're still getting the money, you're still getting the benefit, but without all the emotional impact, I guess. Right. So how would you feel about what if the girl, she did it as a means strictly from a businesswoman perspective, even though her content isn't necessarily the most family friendly? Like how would you feel about that?
See, that goes back into the combo we had about plastic surgery. But again, all money ain't good money. You know what I mean? Like just because you get a check for it don't mean that's probably cool for the short term, but like long term, what's that going? How you finna make that play? Because it's just like if you're known for a certain type of energy, when you try to nah.
For intermission.
We'll edit that part out. But
we're back, folks.
I mean, it depends on a certain type of energy that you putting out there. Because I don't know how you gonna rebound from that energy. But at the same time, if that's your hustle and provide for your family, I'd rather see you do that than your kids starve.
Yeah.
I don't know what y'all think.
So I feel like if you have to do it and it's like a ways of providing like that, we have to respect it. You may not necessarily agree, but like we do live in a free world of the country where you can do stuff like that and monetize. There's people who have been able to like pay out their student debts,
True.
like homes from like OnlyFans and stuff like that. It's like
Mhm.
even though like you might not necessarily agree, we can't like stop you, or we have to basically at least respect the hustle,
Mhm.
even though we don't agree.
That's true. I mean, if you think about it, there are government politicians that sometimes have to literally murder people just to get a paycheck. So like you got to think about it. Like murder is worse than having an OnlyFans. It isn't the end of the world. And you also have to remember that there are still celebrities that use OnlyFans too. Like you can't forget its original purpose. Although it may have formed into something else, it still serves its original purpose, and that's to offer exclusive content to people that are fans of certain people. So, for example, Safari, he's an artist. He has an OnlyFans, and he uses it to exclusively drop, like I believe it's like music or photo shoots that he has, or upcoming plans for what he has. Basically, the life of an artist. It's just a behind the scenes, really. That's what I assume. I don't have his OnlyFans, so I honestly don't know what he's offering. But that's what
You know, a lot of you got a lot of information about it.
Yo, hey, that's what I think. That's what I think. But so yeah, so we can't discredit it. I don't think we could really hate on it. If you got one, I mean, that's your decision right there. You know what people are going to think of you when you get one. You know what they're going to assume, but you don't have to let it define who you are. So that's how I feel about that. And another question is, what is the lowest job you would take to if you needed money? So like, well, what's the lowest thing you could think of? How low would you stoop just to get a paycheck?
Wait, just to get a paycheck or just to feed my family? That's a difference. Like, there's a difference there.
Mm-hmm.
Both, I guess.
For a paycheck, I ain't willing. I'm more about the long-term game and just how I move and how I operate. So the check I take today is in hopes to kind of help plan for the future. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times right now, if you look at like music contracts, even some NBA contracts, like back in the day, yeah, they had good effects now, but like 10, 12 years later, they probably mess up your career. You look at somebody like TLC and all these different music groups that had good money for that time. But if you look at like now, they kind of not in a position where I say they should be. But at the same time, if I got to feed my family, bro, I can sit up there and say this and that about certain things, but I may be on the block selling too if I ain't have, the resources that I had now. You feel me? So it also depends on just how you got to get up. But hopefully, God willing, that if you got a hustling spirit, you'll probably channel that energy into something that's more productive rather than illegal. But what you think, Drew?
I feel like it depends, because there's a lot of ways you can start from the bottom and work your way up. You might have to like start out doing like minimum wage, low jobs, and then you keep on working on that. It's still like a way to at least provide for yourself. And as you work up, you can eventually become, like, for example, I don't know, like the CEO of something. Like you might start from the bottom, like just start to learn like about the company, what it does. So I feel like there's some like good things you can learn about while you're at the bottom, and then like eventually work your way up. Like in terms like if you needed, like you actually needed money like to provide for like yourself and your family, I feel like anything that's like legal and anything that you can at least provide, I feel like it doesn't matter like how low it has to be.
So you would clean the bathrooms at Taco Bell?
If it had to come to that, yeah. if that was the only job I could have, and that was something that I needed, like I would need to provide for myself, then I would have to. If that was like literally the only thing I could do, then I would have to take it.
Yeah, I think that the only reason I brought up that example was because I don't feel like people appreciate the lesson that you get from that. I mean, although it might not be a great job, that job will teach you one thing. It's that you don't want to have that job, so you want to do better. So think of it as a way of motivation, as a memory of looking back and being like, I remember when I did that. I hated doing that, and I never want to do that again. So I'm going to better myself no matter what I have to do. But I just don't want to go back to that. I already lived through that. That was a chapter in my life that I'm already past in. I don't want to open that part up again. So yeah, I feel like people need to appreciate more the low jobs that you do, the ones that aren't as glorified or aren't as pretty, the ones where you have to sweat under the sun all day because you're working outside. I mean, you got to appreciate those too. Yeah.
Do you think that's the answer to empower people as far as getting them out their current situation, as far as like economics?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you look at the people who, okay, so you know how specifically in society people assume that any Hispanic that's working outside is a Mexican, right? So they're working, no joke, they're working under the sun all day, no matter how many hours it takes, like 16-hour shifts, whatever. Like they work to get the money that they can for their family, right? So knowing that, they're probably going to realize that they need to spend their money more wisely in order to better their situation. So like if they want to get a bigger house for himself and his family, I say him because usually it's a guy that's gardening or landscaping, whatever. So like he'll realize that he has to be smarter with the way that he spends his money. So he can't just go out and treat himself to food every single day. I mean, he has to think smart, and he also has to think about others, not just himself. Although he's the one making the money, he has to spread that money out for his whole family, not just himself. Because half the time, I mean, it's usually the guy that's bringing in the majority of the income of a household, specifically with Latinos, in the example that I'm using. So I think it definitely does change the way that you think about how you want to move forward, how you want to spend your money, and what kind of goals you have set for yourself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A lot of times people push, that college dream route, but like as we've seen with, software applications like Chegg and Quizlet, y'all think college is even worth it anymore because most of the answers are online? What y'all think?
I think that I feel like that's kind of I don't feel like people give that enough credit. I mean, sure, if you look at any job, in order to better the job, you need to have data, see what kind of demand is out there, see what people like and don't like in order to make the business improve. So like customer service, you like people that say hello, they engage the person that's calling, they want a friendly tone. Maybe they want a female voice, maybe they want a male voice. That depends on who you're hiring. So you need to collect the data. And to do that, you need to do research. And Chegg and Quizlet, they're essentially forms of research. If you're taking a quiz and you don't know the answer, you go online, you utilize your resources. Half the time it's Google, most of the time it's Google, and you look for the answer that you don't know. You look for the answer to the question that you don't know the response. So I feel like people aren't giving enough credit to the research aspect, and that improves your research, and that'll make you better overall. So like I feel like people really they hate on Chegg and Quizlet, but I mean there is a benefit to it. And half the time, I'll say this: Chegg, no joke, because Chegg does help students a lot understand stuff that maybe a professor, a tutor, is trying to help you with. If you just don't understand it, maybe you need to see it written out in a different form, and Chegg offers that. And that helps the student. I know cases specifically for me. I mean, with statistics, I went to the tutoring center and I tried, they tried their best. And for the most part, I could kind of get it. Sometimes I couldn't. So I would utilize my resources. I went online and I found another form, and I would learn another way of doing it. And that would better me in the end because I would know how to do it. So it's like, I feel like using Chegg and Quizlet it shouldn't take away from the degree that you're earning if you use it. It doesn't make you not smarter than another person who has a degree and didn't use it.
Like you said, Wilbur, like you use it as like another source of data, like to see, I maybe not got it right, or maybe I didn't understand it in class. And you might not necessarily have the time to ask a professor or teacher how to do it. It can almost like always like break it down for you. So it's another way of just learning. I feel
Yeah.
like you can use that depending on what you use it for. I feel like it can be used as a secondary way of data trying to like learn. So I feel like there's still there's still things that you can get out of college and getting that degree. So I feel like places like Chegg and Quizlet, they're good secondary sources to use with your
Yeah.
studies.